Dear friends, I am Father Mandra and I warmly welcome you to Bodhini, the Neural Chapel, also known as BNC, where the eternal teachings of Jesus intersect with the transformating power of neuroscience. In our previous lesson, we introduced the first movement in deep meditation, hidden within a single line from the Gospel of Luke. The tax collector stood far off. At first glance, it may seem like a detail about posture or physical distance. But in truth, it reveals a deep meditative movement, what I call I stand for, a spiritual technology of sacred distance, the foundation of true prayer and inner transformation. Let's explore together. What does it mean to stand far off? Why this distance the beginning of real prayer? And how does this posture bring us closer to God than any outward performance ever could? So what it means to stand far off? When Jesus describes the tax collector as standing far off, he is not highlighting shame or unworthiness. He is inviting us to step back from the noise of our minds into the sacred stance of I stand far. To stand far off means to create an inner gap, a contemplative distance where we are no longer entangled in thoughts, emotions, or social identity. It is the soul quietly saying, I am not my thoughts, I am not my emotions, I am not my history, my success, or my failures. This is the first movement of meditation, what neuroscience calls metacognition, the capacity to observe the mind without becoming it. This is I stand for, the sacred habit of watching without reacting, noticing without being pulled in. It is not about avoiding life, it is about anchoring in awareness, creating sacred distance so that inner noise does not dominate our consciousness. Left unchecked, unobserved thoughts can take over the brain, create confusion and emotional chaos, disrupt prayer, thinking, and even our capacity to love. This is why Jesus does not just teach a doctrine. He introduces a posture, I stand for. Not running away, but stepping inward into awareness, clarity, and presence. And here lies the paradox. Though the tax collector stood physically far off, he was spiritually closest to God in the entire temple. Why? Because he didn't just step back, he stepped inward into truth. He practiced I stand for and awakened. Two men went up, two modes of consciousness. Jesus begins the parable. Two men went up to the temple to pray. This is not just a narrative. It is a revelation of two modes of consciousness that we all carry within. First, the Pharisee mode, that is, standing by himself. The Pharisee's prayer is filled with ego and comparison. I tithe, I fast, I am not like others. This is not a true prayer. It is self-reinforcement, a loop that strengthens the ego and activates the amygdala, the brain's center for fear, pride, and comparison. Spiritually, this is self-engrosser. He stands by himself, trapped within his identity. Second, the tax collector mode, standing far off. The tax collector's prayer is brief and bare. God, have mercy on me. No explanation, no justification, just presence. His posture reflects the practice of I stand for, stepping out of mental loops and into truth. This activates the prefrontal cortex, the brain's center for reflection, clarity, and inner calm. Jesus concludes, this man went home justified. That means he left transformed. He did not perform a ritual. He practiced I stand for and found alignment. Dear friends, this is the deeper meaning of stood far off. To practice I stand for is to withdraw not from life but from confusion, not from responsibility but from reactivity. It is a first movement of meditation, taught not by gurus or monks, but by Jesus himself, through a tax collector's posture in the temple. In our next lesson, we will explore how sacred distance reshapes the brain and how to bring I stand for into everyday life, into our relationship, our works, and our inner dialogue. Until then, remember, the one who stands far off often stands closer to God. And perhaps this is the true wireless connection we have all forgotten to turn on. Thank you.